on the Go Loud app.
With a 395-kilometre range, the 100% electric Renault Zoe E-Tech is designed to go wherever life takes you. Feel that freedom again with the Renault Zoe E-Tech. From €89 a week with 0% finance, 3-year servicing, free home charger and no fuel costs. For a 24-hour test drive delivered to your door, book at Renault.ie today. Renault Zoe, #1 electric car in Europe. Offer is made under a hire purchase agreement. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. See Renault.ie.
This is an important announcement from the Department of Social Protection. If you have been in receipt of the COVID-19 pandemic unemployment payment and are now returning to work, this message is for you. You must ensure that you stop your payment on your first day back at work. The simplest way to do this is online at www.mywelfare.ie. For more information, visit gov.ie/DSP COVID-19 or call the Income Support Helpline on 1890 800 024. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
It's been a long year, but at last it's here. The massive Easy Living Interiors Summer Sale. We've reopened our doors with new styles in all stores and savings that are off the scale. Gorgeous sofas and chairs, tables, beds and homewares, designs that are stylish and clever. We can't wait to show you round and the bargains to be found in the best Easy Living Summer Sale ever. Easy Living Interiors, Cork, Waterford, Navan, Naas, Sandyford, Drogheda and Wexford. Sale now on.
Football on Off the Ball
With Paddy Power. This is a big summer for Irish football. All will be revealed. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
All right, you're welcome back. It is Thursdays Off the Ball. We're going to talk about the Republic of Ireland's 4-1 friendly win against Andorra, but not the comfortable victory that the scoreline suggests. The Republic of Ireland were 1-0 down after 52 minutes. Mark Valles scored the goal, a shocking defending set-piece, free header inside the area. That put little Andorra 1-0 up against Stephen Kenny's side. 6 minutes later, though, the Republic of Ireland equalised through Troy Parrott. He scored his and Ireland's second 3 minutes later, and then Ireland scored a couple of late goals through Jason Knight and Daryl Horgan. Finally, a first win for Stephen Kenny as Republic of Ireland manager. Stuey Byrne is with us. Evening, Stewie.
Hey Nathan, how are you?
I'm alright. Fair to say it wasn't pretty though.
Only alright.
Could you be any better than that?
Only well, the sun is shining. It's Thursday.
It is. And the week before a major final, we're here discussing a 4-1 win for the Republic of Ireland over Andorra, having been behind as we went towards the hour mark. I did fear at that stage we could be talking about Stephen Kenny's future as to whether or not he would survive the night as Republic of Ireland manager, because regardless of the scoreline, Ireland, while they had better players, didn't look like the far better team in that game.
Yeah, I'd agree, Nathan. I have to be honest. Once when Andorra scored, you're really looking at it thinking, oh God, we're in trouble. We're really in trouble. You know, we've got to get back into the game quick. I think all the rope that has been given up till now, I don't think they're going to give any more. And you're really staring down the barrel of a gun, and you're looking for something. You're really looking for someone, I suppose, to kind of pull it out of the bag for us, because as a team collectively, we were struggling. Real lack of continuity about the team, and you've got experienced players in there as well as young players and inexperienced players, but there was just nobody really looked to me up until then that they were going to kind of pull it out of the bag for us. And it took a 19-year-old with hunger and desire and something in him to say, do you know what, I'm going to have a go here. Troy Parrott just gets turned, has a go, has a run at the defenders. Little sidestep, shot on target, good finish. And all of a sudden, you know, you've got the rest of the players looking around going, oh, maybe we can do this, you know, which is worrying because up until then, Nathan, you know, I mean, I'm just listening to the commentary. Stephen Kelly was doing the commentary as well. He was talking about the pitch. Maybe you need to get used to the pitch. It takes 30 minutes, and it's all nonsense, to be quite honest with you, at this stage. Like, you know, the reality was Andorra looked hungry, didn't they? They were in our face. They put it up to us. That's what we used to do to better teams.
Well, they had an energy. They were putting that pressure on. And this is, when you look at what Stephen Kenny's trying to do, and you might talk to us about what you think he is trying to do, because So trying to play a more expansive game plan by playing it out from the back, why don't the players look comfortable doing that? Because any time Andorra put any pressure on at all, Ireland seemed to panic.
So they don't look comfortable anymore doing it. End of story. We did look comfortable doing it in the first 6-7 games. We don't look comfortable anymore doing it, and the reason being, it's the confidence has gone out of the team. It's as simple as that. And I know a lot of people will say, confidence, like these guys are well paid, they're experienced professionals. It's huge. Confidence is huge, and it's not necessarily an individual. It's confidence with any one individual. It's collectively as a group. We're now struggling, and I'm talking about pre our first goal here. We're struggling with this now. We're saying, oh, is this really working? We're tentative. You can see we're not moving the ball quickly. Players that you think, the likes of Matt Doherty plays for Spurs, you're thinking, can he not do something? But he's not. All around collectively. Games live on TV. We know everyone's watching. It's the end of a season. We should be sharp. And it's been put up to us by an Andorra team who are just doing exactly what we should expect them to do, and that's be full of energy, squeeze us high, just burst along for the first, 50, 60 minutes, because they're only capable of doing that. They were always going to wane. The fitness was always going to go. But in reality, as a team, we need to be more confident. We should have been able to play around them. We should have been able to, and if it needed to be a scrap, maybe, have a scrap. Why not? Where do we come from? A lot of these players come from very basic backgrounds. They're well able to scrap. Sometimes maybe, you kind of forget how to do that when you're playing in big stadiums, better pitches. You go to the likes of Andorra.
But they can do it for their clubs.
They can do it for the clubs, yeah. So to me, Nathan, it's like a psychology. It's a confusion now. They don't fully yet know, what am I really supposed to do here? Like, do you want me getting on the ball here? Do you want me doing this? Do you want me doing that? And that's the experienced players as well are struggling with it as well. I think James McLean is struggling with it. James McLean can't beat a player anymore, and that's fine. But he's got other attributes. But even he's still trying to beat players. He's still trying to beat that fullback as if it was 10 years ago and put in a cross. He can't do it anymore. So he has to change his game. He has to alter his game to play in this Ireland team. And a lot of the other players have to, I would argue, a lot of the experienced players have to adjust now their game and find out where it is they fit in all this. Because it seems to me, the players that are standing out are the younger players. Parrott stood out in the first half to me. He really did. Like, he was trying things. He was getting turned. Not an awful lot happening, but that's a 19-year-old kid, and maybe, maybe it's the fact that he hasn't been getting much football, and maybe it's the fact that this is an opportunity for him now to get himself settled into this Irish team. But ultimately, it took him, a kid, to kind of say, do you know what, sod this. I'm getting turned. I'm having a go here. Gets the goal. All of a sudden, we look a different team. We're moving the ball quicker. We're taking chances. We're whipping balls into the box. Significantly, confidence is huge in two ways, Nathan. It gives you, the ability to go and play, but also when an opposition team senses that this is a confident team we're playing against, they back off. They all of a sudden they retreat. But Andorra didn't sense that off us in the first half, and they said, you know what? Let's have a go at these. Let's have a go at them and see what they're made of. And they weren't made of much, So it's I'm hoping, Nathan, that the result is going to be a huge thing for us, because
do you think is it, Stuey? Because it is Andorra, and for an hour it was a bit of a mess. That actually, whatever feel-good factor is there from finally getting a win, the fact it's Andorra and it was expected, and anything less was a catastrophe. Are they suddenly going in against Hungary with a weight off their shoulders?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, you can only hope, Nathan. We have to get a response now. There has to be, for me, if I go back to the first 4 or 5 games under Stephen, I really liked what I was looking at. Thought we were moving the ball really well. We were playing with confidence at that time. I think everyone was buying into this system. They said, yeah, okay, let's have a go at this. We're being asked now to be a possession-based team. Let's try and play. And we were doing that, but the results didn't come, and all of a sudden everything just dropped with it. And I see a different Ireland team now. I know the personnel, there's been huge personnel change. Some players now are even backing up. Some of the experienced players are even backing away from being called into the Ireland team. That's a big issue. But there has to be a response. The honeymoon period is over, Nathan. We now need the world is getting back. We're going to have crowds in games soon. And this whole period is now going to turn around very, very quickly. And we ultimately need results. Now, we got the result. We got the win. A few positives came out of the game. The goalkeeper looks a proper prospect, absolutely. Knight looks like he's a player. Troy Parrott, loads of confidence. Daryl Horgan can still play at this level. I think he was full of energy when he came on. But there's still a lot of things for Stephen to get on top of. The goal we conceded looked to me like it was a confusion from something we did on the training pitch.
Well, talk about that, because you keep going back to the 4 or 5 games at the start where there were signs of Ireland playing a more progressive brand of football, as you say, playing it out from the back, looking comfortable, but they were being undone in those games by bad mistakes at the back. And you think back to that first match against Bulgaria where there was 5 or 6 occasions in the game where there was this huge gap between the midfield and the defence, and you sort of put it down to teething problems at that stage. And once you had a full back four there, and like that back four today is Matt Doherty, Darragh O'Shea, John Egan and James McLean. It's an incredibly experienced back four playing at a high level. How does a mistake like that for that goal happen 12 games into a reign?
Yeah, it looks to me like something's gone. Looks like we've worked on something in training. Tried to play extremely high line from a free kick that was coming in quite direct, wasn't coming in from wide, coming in quite central. Always anytime you're defending a free kick that's from a central position, Nathan, should be extremely easy to defend against, because you have to deliver a ball on a pinhead in order to get any accuracy out of it. So it's always much easier to be able to defend from a central position. So we look like we played a high line, very, very high line. James McLean's marking the runner. He gets confused then, do I go with him? And then he's suddenly stopping and he's putting his hand up as if it's something they've worked on in training. No one's on the same page. He gets a free run through. There's no way Bazunu can come out. It's too difficult for him. Goal. So utter confusion. Simple as that. That's a coaching problem. End of story. We were all over the place. It's like something you'd see in Phoenix Park. Totally wrong. And that's when you're thinking, the heads are going to go here now, because there's confusion. It looks like something we've got completely wrong. But to be fair, I'll go back to it again. It took Troy Parrott to just grab the game by the scruff of the neck, even though it was against Andorra. But he said, "You know what? I'm going to have a go here." And sometimes players can that are used to playing. I mean, you mentioned, how can these players that are used to playing at a really high level, week in, week out, big stadiums, how can they kind of struggle? Sometimes they can struggle playing on an artificial surface, a small ground in the middle of nowhere. I don't know whether if it's an issue with maybe one or two, a few players that maybe don't fancy it anymore, and Stephen's only learned that about his team now, and he's got to look at it now and say, can he do it for me now? Can he do it even at this level? If we're asked to go to Andorra and not able to,
he needs to make these decisions quickly, because he is running out of time. We're long past the honeymoon period.
This is it, Nathan. No, these 2 games are it. End of story.
But the worry is when we talk about confidence, that Kenny has finally had some time with the players. So he's had them together by and large since last Friday. I know it's only 6 days, but it's by far the longest spell he's actually had on the training pitch since he took over, because of all the COVID issues. That if he couldn't turn around their confidence levels over the last 6 days, how's he going to do it between now and Hungary? Because then we're back into a cycle again where he'll have the players for 2 days before they go to Portugal. One of the best, most star-studded teams in world football. How does he go there at the beginning of September with another 2 or 3 sessions and instill a bit of confidence in these players? Have you seen enough of him that you believe he can do that?
I have, yeah, but he's got to get a response out of the players. It's as simple as that. Stephen is a unique character, Nathan. He can be odd, right? and it takes a while to get used to him. Now, the difficulty he has had is that, because you get reduced amount of time with international players, it can be difficult for players to really understand what's this guy about, But you look at Troy Parrott, well used from because of the 21s. Daryl Horgan be used from, Jamie McGrath be used from the other players there that will be used to them. I don't know yet whether some of the other players are getting it. I don't know whether they're getting it, but that's a factor. But I'll keep going back to it. The confidence thing is a big factor as well. But I've seen this team just go downhill since the way we were being asked to play wasn't bringing us the results that we would have expected. We weren't. There was a lot of people were in favour of this for a long time, and were willing to give Stephen a chance, absolutely. And even the thought of us being able to play a better brand of football, I think it got a lot of people excited. But it's not happening. It's not happening, and ultimately there comes a stage where you have to change, you have to shift. It's a very fluid situation. You maybe now have to play a slightly different way. You have to play players who want to play for you. That's another thing. It doesn't, because it's at international level, it doesn't make it any different to playing at club level. I know players want to play for their country, but ultimately, if they have a problem with the manager and don't want to play for the manager, as a manager,
did you look at those players and think some of them didn't want to play for the manager?
I'd word it a different way. I think some of them are now struggling with what way they're being asked to play. There's no doubt about it. Some of the decisions that some of the players are making are just crazy. This is experienced players.
So what do you do as a manager in that position if some of the players can't follow your instructions? Do you need to change your tactics to something a bit more basic, something a bit more straightforward that actually means, at the very least, you're solid at the back?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but that's we shouldn't even be talking about that, Nathan. I mean, we just should. The goal we gave away is just bizarre. Totally, I just can't get my head around it. I don't know what we're trying to do. I don't know why James McLean hasn't decided to go and just stick with him. Get goal side of him, get his shoulder against him. It's a total confusion. So he has to address that. Absolutely has to address that quickly. We're going into a game now against a hungry side, which it'd be a big step up from this. But he's got to stick with the players that are doing it for him. Troy Parry's got to play him. And the story, that's probably why he's taking him off. He has to play him. Simple as that. Knight as well is the same. Goalkeeper, and he's just got to really. And we also need to kind of look at what we're doing around that central midfield area as well. When there was a lot of critics of a Glenn Whelan type character when he was playing there, but ultimately it looks to me like we need somebody now that is just going to stick in there and is going to be like a magnet. It's going to be somebody that's just going to get us playing, because it's not working for me at the moment, that central midfield position area. But
Stewie, the way you're talking there of going back to a more basic, solid defensive system, bringing back a Glenn Whelan type figure, that goes against everything that Stephen Kenny had promised to bring. Mick McCarthy would do that.
We need apologies. We need a central pivotal player, somebody that's always available, just to bounce a ball off, 5-yard pass, 10-yard pass, someone that's always there centrally. We don't have that at the moment. Looks to me like we're getting a little bit confused about players trying to get forward, and we lacked at times that sort of central pivotal area. I'm not talking about an Iniesta here or a Xavi. I'm talking about somebody.
But I thought Josh Cullen was going to be that player.
Yeah, well, I would have thought so as well. But didn't see that tonight, I have to say. And I thought at times we could really have done with that kind of with a player there that could just have given us that option, that out ball. That out ball as well. We tend to be going down the channels an awful lot, and sometimes we get squeezed out. There's no room down wide. You need somebody inside just to bounce a ball off. Yeah. Just someone who's always available. Uncomplicated 10-yard passes, keeping it simple.
All our football and off the balls with thanks to Paddy Power. For information on responsible gambling, visit gamblingcare.ie. Just one last question quickly before we finish up, because we did win the game, and the main positive was Troy Parrott at 19 getting a couple of goals. He's had a difficult year at club level. Is he a player now that Stephen Kenny can actually build this team around, or is that expecting too much of a 19-year-old?
No, I don't think so at all. No, I think in the modern game, these guys are coming through from an extremely young age. I can't believe he's 19. I mean, I've been talking about Troy Parrott for it goes to 3 or 4 years now, Nathan. So he's been knocking on the door. He's come through he's come through the right way. He's developed through the under-21s, through Stephen. He's done his stuff there. He's had the experience of being at a big club and being highly thought of, and then it not working out for him. So, he's had to pull himself back up from that knockdown from Tottenham, and he's worked his way back. So that shows you he's got a bit of grit in him, And I just look at his. I look at his reaction from his first senior goal. Have a look at his reaction when he scored. Just wanted to get back to the halfway line and get on with the game. No real celebration. An air of disappointment in his face, and that tells me that all right, it got me goal, but we've got a job to do here. We need to get on with it. His second goal, there was a bit of a punch, and he showed a bit of emotion, but showed to me that his head's in the right place.
Stuey, great stuff as always. One of these days we'll have a nice positive conversation. I'm not sure when, but one of these days.
I was looking at those mountains, Nathan, in the background, and I was just saying, if myself and yourself had been there, a glass of wine, commentating on the game.
God, it'd be glorious, Stuey.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next time. Stuey Byrne, great stuff as always. John Giles, by the way, will be with us 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. He's going to be with us for the full football show, giving his thoughts on Ireland and also on the Champions League final as well.
Football on Off the Ball
with Paddy Power. This is a big summer for Irish football. All will be revealed. Gamble responsibly. gamblingcare.ie.
Future Proof.
In the early days of scurvy, you can expect to feel weak, tired, get sore arms and legs, your red blood cells will start to drop. Then you'll get gum disease, you'll get bleeding from the skin. Eventually, your wounds won't heal, your personality will change, and you'll die. All from a deficiency of a tiny invisible thing called vitamin C. But what exactly is a vitamin? And why are we now pumping them into our bodies with wild abandon? The science of vitamins on Future Proof this Saturday from 12.
Future Proof.
Proudly supported by Science Foundation Ireland.
On News Talk.
Our intercity trains are now operating at 50% capacity, in line with public health guidelines. That means if you have a necessary journey, you must pre-book your intercity ticket at irishrail.ie. Thank you for helping us all stay safe. From Éireann Road Éireann, part of the Transport for Ireland network.
What's most impressive about the all-new, totally redesigned Dacia Sandero? Is it its generous boot space? Or stylish LED headlights? Its smart media connectivity or comfort designed with you in mind? We think it's all of these things, and still shockingly affordable from €39 a week on the road. The all-new Dacia Sandero, the most affordable new car in Ireland, giving you more for less. Find out more at dacia.ie today. Offer is made under a hire purchase agreement. Deposit required. Payments drawn monthly. Subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. See dacia.ie.
This is Water Safety Ireland with a very important message. As we all adhere to social distancing, please remember to swim in lifeguarded waterways. Lifeguards are there every weekend in June and